Okay, so we're all chose the same book this week, which is the Let Them Theory.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to tell you first of all why I got this book because we got the book before we did the topic. Okay? So I'm sitting in an airport with a broken phone. All right, I closed the hatch of the rental car not once but twice on my phone because I was wondering why the trunk wasn't closing.
I hate those moments.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that happened.
Hmm.
So what I was thinking, I was going to listen to Audible because we had one of the book clubs coming up. I had to finish up the book. And so I'm in the airport bookstore and I pick up the Let Them Theory because people were talking about it. And I have read a book by Mel Robbins before. The book I read years and years and years ago was The 5 Second Rule.
Mhm.
And that is it's a tip that it's like she has tips. I think her genre of self-help, pop psychology is Pooh Bear. Is she takes a tip that has worked for her and turned it into a book. Okay. So the 5 second rule, the five second rule is something that worked for me, especially at a time where I was like flip flopping. Okay. And it's still a tip that I will use when I find myself sitting down and like not working, even though I have a full to do list. And I'll just do a countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, back at work. Okay. So that is why I bought, and it had a green cover. I hate jacket covers. Like it's the first thing that goes into a garbage when I buy a hardcover. I overpaid for this book because it was at an airport, Hudson News, and I first thing I do is I toss. So my review of this book, okay. Um, I think she has a real gift picking out something that's going on and running with it. So right now, especially in the country, there is a lot of um, family dynamics that are frazzled, to say the least. Okay?
Mhm.
Polarizing politics has created a situation in which is making it really difficult to have that family dinner. Okay? So the basic premise of the book is let them. You're not going to change your mind. Not going to change. I'm not going to sit down at dinner with somebody with an opposite view and without really good information on why I should change my mind. I'm not going to listen to you. Um, my own personal family was fractured way before politics even got into it. I have one brother that I talk to, and I've always said it this way: if one brother died, that'd be really so sad. Move on with my life. Another brother, I would go to the funeral if it was convenient for me. And the third brother, I have a decent relationship with. I would cancel my plans and hop on a plane and I would go. All right. Um, but that relationship was fractured a while ago, and at this point, it's not going to get fixed. Okay. But I think a lot of what this book does is help prevent you from getting to that place. So the first part of the book is let them do what it is they want to do. But the second
Hmm.
half of the book gives you um, let you. How you react to a situation, that's on you. All right. You can react however you want. So you're not responsible for them. You're only responsible for yourself. And that's the message I got from the book. So yes, it is a book I would recommend. Okay. I'm going to save Sacheen for last.
Okay. So,
Because we have
okay.
something to discuss when she gives her review of the book.
Gotcha. I'm not privy to this yet. Okay. So for me, um, when Mary, you made the comment about, hey, I've got this book, Let Them, I had already actually read it. Um, I had back up a few years where the Let Them poem was circulating on Facebook. And if you don't know the Let Them poem, You should read it. It's a really good poem. And it hit me at a time in my world where I was having turmoil with inner work relationships and personal turmoil at home. And it really helped. The poem itself really helped me make it through some things. And it spoke to me because I come from an alcoholic background. So Al-Anon and all those things, I've done a lot of work on that aspect over the years. So I was already familiar with sort of what's mine is mine and what's someone else's is someone else's, and learning what was mine and what was someone else's. But when the Let Them poem came out, it was really nice. Like, I wanted to do the whole get the tattoo that they were talking about. I actually wanted to with my receptionist at the time. We actually had a falling out, but I wanted to actually go get a tattoo because she had a rough life, and I cared about her, and I knew that that really resonated with her as well. And yeah, I enjoyed it at the time. And then fast forward, she produces this book, and I got the book. And I will say the one thing that I did struggle with the Let Them poem and when all of this came out was, what do you do with that? Okay, let them, but then it also feels like a way that I am not honoring myself. So let them be who they are, but where do I stand in this? And if we, and I know she addresses this in the book, but it was, well, what do I do with myself then? Yes, I can let them, but that's also not healthy to just hold it in. So what I really thoroughly enjoyed about the book when I read it was that she added in the let me. So that she went from let them and let me. And I think that that's what was missing years ago from the Let Them poem, because it left for me, and I could see a lot of people struggling with, well, if I let them, I don't have room, space for myself. So what do you tolerate? What are you putting yourself through? What is acceptable? And are you actually losing a piece of yourself by letting them? So I really actually enjoyed that she added in let me into the book, because I think that was the piece that people would have missed back when Let Them poem came out. So I will say I do enjoy the book. For me, I do enjoy the let me, because I think a lot of people need to hear that. Because even when I knew that, I worked it and incorporated that into my world. So when I worked with my employees or any of my friends who were struggling, I could easily place what each other's responsibilities were, but also teaching them they have like they have themselves to hold accountable and what they can do with it and all that other stuff. So I really, really enjoyed the let me part of it. I already knew about the let them aspect, because I think the most important part isn't necessarily let them be who they are. It's let me do this in reaction to that. So instead of, yes, let them go on Facebook and gossip, or let the clients have irrational thoughts, or let the employees, at a time it went through over a turnover period as well. So I was struggling because things that were said about me I knew weren't true, but comes with the ownership and having employees and turnover and people leaving and coming and going. So for me, I could let them do that, and I can let me walk into work and not let it affect any of the other employees. Or I could go ahead, let them say what they want. I'm going to let me do this. So I thoroughly enjoyed the let me. I think you need to have both parts. I don't think it's a one-way street. And I have to say, because I've done a lot of work, it was a very simplistic read for me, but I could see I have told people and referred people to it who I know are struggling and need a path into that mindset to sort of start to see what to take on. Our industry is filled with people pleasers, and I work with a lot of business owners who don't know how to let others be and what's theirs to own and what someone else's to own. So I find it really good introductory when people are starting on that journey. For me, it was simplistic, but I very, very much thoroughly enjoyed the let me aspect that she added to it after the years of the poem. So that's going to be my take on it.
Okay. Because she and I have discussed.
We have discussed this.
I figured.
So I appreciate the fact that she has made something that most people who consume pop psychology can get into pretty easily. For that, she seems to be a master at that. I think that's a good thing because most folks aren't going to read a research article on the very things that would help them. They're not going to read that. They're not going to read the scientific textbook. They're not going to dig into the research. So there is a place for that type of writing, and there's a whole industry, it's $1 billion industry that supports it, and I think that's important for people to get the information. Having said that, I have no love for Mel Robbins. And Mary is already aware of this. Part of my no love for Mel Robbins is that her inability to admit that she is wrong puts, for me, everything else that she writes into question. The book Let Them stems not only from the poem that I'm going to forget her name right now. It was I'm going to forget the poem. I'm going to forget the woman who wrote the poem, and that's on me. But was wildly popular 2 years before this book ever became
Mhm.
a thing. It was so wildly popular. But even before that, how do you ignore this very ideology that is prevalent in churches, in the Alcoholics Anonymous movement, that has been studied everywhere, and yet when you're asked where you got this idea, you bring us to this random conversation that you had about prom with your daughter. And here's my issue with it.
Mhm.
You were called out about it, and instead of saying, you know what, given the context of what we're talking about and the fact that we all live in the same place, of course I probably heard this someplace else and just didn't remember. That would have been genuine. To triple down and say, no, 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 this came to me from the ether. I mean, that would be like someone saying, I read this amazing book about this blind husky, and I know it came to me in a dream. I just know this is my story. I know I don't know where it came from, but one day in the park I was sitting there and suddenly I thought, I bet you I could write this book about a blind husky. I know I could do it. And then have me sitting there going, have you lost your mind? This is a national wonder. This is a treasure. How do you not know where you got it from? Even if it was in passing, you've heard the story. And I think we have to be very careful when we're giving credence to people who take someone else's work and popularize it, to let them off the hook by saying, but it's making it palatable for the masses, but it's still not yours. And that's not right. And as a woman, I take real offense to it because the poem went viral because women really latched on to the idea behind it. And then to
Mhm.
take that same audience and say, I'm not going to give credit to that person who brought this to your attention, but I want you to buy this book that I'm basing basically off of it, and just pretend like it didn't say the same thing. And I have real issues with that.
Okay.
I
And those,
did read the book, by the way.
and I do think
It's
they
on my
are
notes right
legitimate
here.
issues because all
I did read
all
it.
three of us are in the process of writing a book.
Correct.
Okay. I'm starting, and yes, A Spirited Life is a work of fiction, but I don't know how to put it. It's more of a love story to my dog.
Absolutely. And if someone came up and said, I have, in a dream, this came to me, I would be like, you are lying. You are absolutely, unequivocally, you are lying.
But I am writing a fiction book, and my concern is as I'm writing it, this is all my words coming from me. Is there something in the back of my head? So the one of the first things I will do is I will do a plagiarism check on it before I submit it. By the time the first draft is done, I'm going to do a plagiarism check just to make sure that somewhere in the back of my brain, in the billions of books that I have read, I am not telling a story that's already been told.
I would say here's where the difference comes in. When it comes to fiction works, the author can do whatever they want to. I don't care if you recreate an entire universe that looks nothing like I've ever encountered in my life, or if you take the universe that I'm currently existing in and blow it to smithereens. I don't care. It's fiction. That's the whole point. But if you're going to write nonfiction, which gives it a different type of reality, right? It says this is taking place in the real world. People are going to look at that work very differently. If you're going to call your work psychology, which is what it's listed as, and you're going to say, I'm going to take the works of psychologists and people in this field, and I'm going to turn those works into palatable books for the masses, we've seen it happen. People do it very successfully. But what you don't get to do is say, this came to me in a dream, because we know that it didn't. Because contextually speaking, in fiction, it could have come to you in a dream. But in nonfiction, we're expecting a little more, where did you get that from? And when you're called to the carpet on that, you should be able to say, hey, you know what? This was from Al Anon. And I do remember reading that. Or I remember the viral poem that was tearing up and
Right.
down the airwaves. And I thought I would build on that instead of doubling and tripling down and going, no, no, no. It was some random conversation with this child, or no, it was actually this child. It just, it says to me, you saw an opportunity and you ran with it without realizing that you're not dealing in fiction, you're dealing in nonfiction. And when you're going to call yourself a pop psychologist or write in pop psychology, that comes with some weight to it. And that weight should be your integrity and not, I just didn't know.
Okay.
I'm not buying that.
Well, I will say I actually appreciate that because while I was reading it, obviously I knew about the poem. This is all just life stuff. This isn't, I know who wrote the poem.
I'm going to forget her
But
name.
even I, so it's, yeah, I just, I don't even remember who wrote it. I just remember it was viral.
Cassie Phillips, sorry.
I
It's
don't,
driving me crazy. Okay.
yeah, I'm like, I'm one of those people, I don't remember names really well. But I will say, while reading it, and I actually appreciate you saying this, Sacheen, because even I question, I'm like, so did she write the poem? Didn't she write the poem? I know the poem existed. And I was very confused on that, knowing the origin with the poem, or at least knowing that the poem was something that was 2 years ago because I was living a life at that point where it spoke to me. So it is very interesting to hear that because I would have never. I read the book. I said, okay, it's okay. And I appreciate the let me. I got what I needed out of it and I didn't think twice about it. But I do appreciate that, the background part of that and to learn all of that. So like, that's the first time hearing about it but I did question it while I was reading it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just remembering wrong because I don't trust my memory.
No, I think it's partially it's because of the field that I'm in. In academics, it's really important to cite your sources. Like we don't get to
Mm-hmm.
print things without having a laundry list of sources. And the reason is because you might have read it 20 years ago, but you still don't get to take someone's work as your own. Even if it's 25 years
Right.
old, it's still not yours. Because what we understand is that there is no new ideas under the sun. Let's be real, right? There's really nothing new under the sun. We're regurgitating a lot of the very same things over and over again. But that doesn't give anyone the right to diminish the work that someone did who laid that groundwork for you to be able to write this book. Like somebody already paved the way for you. The least you could do is say, hey, thank you. And it's Cassie Phillips who wrote the poem. And the only reason I even knew about it is because it literally was everywhere. I mean, this darn thing was blowing up
Mm-hmm.
all over the place. And I was like, well, let me go read it. And
Yes.
I love poetry. So I'm like, let me go read it. I didn't really resonate that much with the poem itself, but I was also really heavily into the dance by Oriah Mountain Dreamer, much more my speed. And her poetry just worked better for me. But if I can remember it and I wasn't its target audience, I'm like, Mel, you're not fooling me with this one.
All right. And so this will bring me back to this whole self help genre of books. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, first of all, most of them are not written by psychiatrists.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that person writing the book, that the book isn't useful or helpful to somebody.
Absolutely.
All right. Because I'll go back to the 5 second rule. And as I'm reading the book, one of the things that I just really took away from the book was, gee, her life sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's way worse than mine. Okay. And yet she got herself out of bed to go do the things she needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yes, that resonated with me to like stop feeling sorry for myself. Oh, life is so hard and I got so many things to do and I don't have time to do this, to stop that. All right. But a lot of the self help books can be a little trite. Okay. And it's just, they're all the same. They all have a message, and it's all generally the same message. So if you read one, that's all you need. Okay. Because they're very, very similar. There has to be a reason to read a self-help pop psychology book, and it's got to be something that is really pertaining to you right at the moment. Otherwise, it just doesn't differentiate itself between that and I'm going to do a quick Google. I want to know how many self-help books are there.
Well, to give you a really good example of that, in the 90s, Dr. John Gray wrote, Men are from Mars, Women are from Venus. You couldn't get away from this book.
Yeah.
Everybody and their grandmother was reading Men are from Mars, Women are from Venus. Oprah was talking about it. Every talk show had it on. His work is based off work of Deborah Tannen, who wrote You Just Don't Understand 2 years prior to that, and is an actual linguist who works in the communication field. He credits and says, I absolutely built off this woman's work. But
Okay.
he took that and he made it a popular, like nobody read You Just Don't Understand. I mean, I had to read it because I was in grad school, but everybody read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Why? Because it's catchy. Because it's different. Like Mary, like you're saying, because it's different. Because, well, what do you mean Men are from Mars, Women are from Venus? Like, what does that mean? And then he goes into making what is very dry, theoretical material into something that the popular masses wanted to read. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just so everybody knows, as of February 2026, there are 2.6 million self-help books.
I believe it.
Okay. So it's a popular, I'm not even going to say niche. 2.6 million is not niche.
I mean, it is a popular niche. It's a popular genre. How about that?
Yeah, it's a very popular niche. And I can't imagine that there wouldn't be so many if the authors were not making money doing it.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean,
Okay.
didn't Let Them make the bestsellers list?
Oh, I'm sure it did. So hold on.
Probably did.
Let them.
Let's see.
There
7
is.
million copies sold per Libby. My little Libby app is telling me the stats on it. 7 million copies sold. #1 New York Times bestseller. #1 Amazon bestseller. #1 Audible bestseller. #1 Sunday Times bestseller. 7 million copies isn't bad.
No, it is
Not
not.
bad at all. But to me, that means even more your integrity can't be called into question.
Yeah.
That to me just makes it even more important that if you're going to take someone else's work and build off of that work, then you could at least acknowledge them, even if you're not going to give them royalty credit, right? Like acknowledge that that work is out there because your work could have sent people back to the poem
Yeah.
and lifted that poem. And you know what, ladies? I gotta say, when Mel tried to trademark Let Them, that was it for me. I'm just like, you can't, how are you going to try and trademark something that you didn't come up with? It was
Yeah.
denied, by the way.
Okay. Because not here, I never read the Let Them poem. So when you were telling me about it, I had no idea what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I may be in the minority there, but you know what? People like me exist.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I think just that bridge between the two would have been nice in that book to say, hey, listen, if you
Yes.
haven't read this poem, you should go read it because I'm basing a lot of what I'm talking about on this woman's work.
All right. I mean, very simple. I read this poem, Let Them, and my mind went from there.
Right.
Sure,
Literally.
better first opening paragraph than what I just said, but you know.
No, but honestly, that would have solved a lot of the criticism that she got. Would have just been, hey, listen, I read this poem. It went viral. I was exposed to it. And I from there I did some research into the psychology behind allowing your mind to latch onto a new idea and release your desire to control. Because that's basically what the whole book's about, right? Releasing your desire to control other people, learning how to control what you're doing yourself. So I heard this poem. I went and did some research on the psychology of letting go, and then that might have driven her down the rabbit hole of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is where this actually originates from, the whole concept of letting people
Yes.
just be them, right? Like there's
Mhm.
just this big hole that her book left in the middle of it, and people are just driving a Mack truck through it.
Okay. So,
That's
all
my theory.
right. So, overall, Sacheen, would you recommend this book?
No.
Denise.
Well, now I'm questioning it because I didn't know all the background. Thanks, Sacheen.
Sorry.
On principle, okay.
Maybe
On
this is
principle, yeah. On principle, okay. I can see where Sacheen's coming, and I would not want to support that. The message of what it was, if someone is struggling, it is a very easy read. I would still recommend it to help someone in a time, even though I don't want to support it. But I think it's with getting into, and I just want to also, without getting into all the parts of Al-Anon and Alcoholics Anonymous and all the things, this is a very, very good leadway to know where that actually, like to deep dive. So it's a very good start. I don't know of anything so far out there that is a really good start to get into that mindset. So for that reason, I would do it because of that, but I would not, it would be circumstantial, and
Well,
I don't want to support that either. So I'm just going to say that.
all right. Well, the way around it is like, I have a copy of this book. Somebody feels they need to read it. I will give you my copy. How's that?
That works.
I like it.
Give it away.
Give it away.
Give it away.
All right. So let's talk about the next time we're meeting for book club,
Okay.
which is Sunday the 19th.
Yes.
And we're reading the same book again, which is Animal, Vegetable, Mineral.
I can hold up a copy of it.
I made sure I did my homework early because that was a long book and I knew it was going to take me forever.
It was,
Oh,
So-
it's 14 hours on Audible, people.
yeah, it's a long
14
book.
hours.
It's thick. See, it is a thick read, but it's an easy read. I'm gonna say that it's an easy read. It's a long read, but it is an easy read.
Okay. All right. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.